This one I particularly included, we decided to include after I met this guy, because what he's doing is in the category of the future 17-year possibilities happening now, in Tim's slides. What he's doing, Guy Halftech, are you back there? Come up, please. So it really was just bringing Guy and Knack, his company, on stage here at Techonomy Detroit, from our point of view, was just aiming to demonstrate that it's impossible to make the kinds of predictions we think we can make about the future of our economy, because certain things are going to come out of left field because of technology, because of big data and pattern matching and a lot of other things that are possible now that really could change the game. I think what Knack and what Guy are doing could even change the game very concretely for Detroit, and I hope we're going to get into that. We don't have tons of time, but Guy, just quickly start out, tell us what Knack is, or show the video, whatever you want to do. Take a couple minutes.
Hi,
Only
everyone.
a couple.
Great to be here. So very, very quickly, if you're about 20 years old, or even if you're younger, the single most important question for you is really, what's your knack? What's your potential? And the reason this is important is if you think about human potential, this is actually our single most valuable natural resource. If you compare that to oil, gas, precious gems, or iron, or whatever it is, figuring out human potential, this is really the most precious, valuable social and economic resource. And the question is, how do we go about discovering human potential? How do we go about nurturing and developing human potential? Through education, through training, through placing people, helping people figure from very early age where they belong to in terms of education, training, what's their career track, what's the right thing for them to do. And surprisingly, we don't have much tools for the past 50 years to go about figuring out how to match people, how to figure out their potential and match them with opportunity. This is a huge social problem. So when I think about what we're doing at Knack, Knack is about a very big mission, a very high purpose of building a company that will change people's life and change the economics of human potential. If you think about all the technologies that are available for discovering oil, even in the deep sea, or discovering any other natural resources and harvesting electricity and wind, we don't have any comparable technology for discovering and harvesting and nurturing and developing human potential, and this is a huge problem. And this is what Knack is trying to change, to make this fundamental change in terms of how we empower individuals, how we empower businesses, communities, and education institutions to go about figuring out what's the potential people have, how to develop that, and how to match them into opportunities. So I'm showing you here, this is the homepage of our website. You can go to our website. It was launched basically today. And you can see some screenshots for...
This is super new, what he's talking about. I don't know if have you ever talked about this publicly before?
This is actually the first time.
Yeah, so this is new. Okay, go on.
Thank you, David. We got actually some press coverage, but I won't mention that here. But in any case, this is our website, and what Knack is about, more concretely, is discovering your strengths and discovering your talent through gameplay. What we're doing, there are three components to our technology. There is state-of-the-art behavioral science, and we have 6 scientists on board. We design games that we weave into the games the behavioral science insights, and we collect data from your gameplay. So as you play a game, and I'm going to show you one of our games in a second, the game collects the data, observes what you do, how you do things, how you perform, how you learn, how you change your strategies, how you cope with failure, how you recover from failure. And the game, the power of games, if you think about why games are so fascinating and so powerful as a medium, everyone is wired to play games. As toddlers, babies, young adults, or anyone else up to very late ages, people are fascinated by games, and they play games everywhere on smartphones or on board games or anywhere else you look. There are single-player games, there are social games. So games are really a very powerful medium where people, they motivate people, they immerse them, engage them in an experience, and we are actually building games that have a very deep social purpose to help people, to empower them, to enable them to do better in their life.
But when you're playing it, it's just a fun game. That's the cool part. Go ahead.
As you'll see in a sec. So here, I actually have one of our games. It's called Wasabi Waiter, and it's going to be available for everyone very soon on iTunes, Android market. And here you play the role of a waiter in a sushi bar. And you have to serve different sushi plates to different customers based on reading their emotions. Oh, too bad the video is okay. You can see the waiter picking different dishes, serving the dishes, multitasking, clearing dishes back to the sink, trying to optimize number of customers, the tips the waiter is getting. And the waiter has to read the emotions displayed by the customers. This is part of the challenge in this game. What happens while you play the game is everything you do in the game and everything you actually choose not to do, and the sequence of how you do things is all being logged by our technology. And the data is then analyzed, and I'll show you what the result of that analysis is in terms of giving you insight and feedback into your personality, into your behavioral makeup.
Can I just quickly say, I don't know if you can all read this. He's having to serve them food based on the emotion that he thinks they're showing. So it says contemptuous, disgusted, fearful, surprised, angry, sad, happy. Just so you know.
This level is going to be over in
I think we got
1
the idea
minute,
on
so
the
we
game.
can skip to the next slide.
Yeah. But it is a fun game. I played it.
And David is actually doing very well, if you wondered. And the result of playing the game and the other games that we're building, we currently have 4 games, is you're starting to unlock your behavioral DNA. You're starting to unlock your unique signature that encompasses many traits, abilities, aptitudes, personality traits, ranging across very different domains of your personal makeup. To show you an example here, this is not how it's displayed to users on the site, but we are able to learn from your gameplay about your emotional and social abilities and intelligence, about personality traits, about...
Can I just read some of those?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so we got extroversion, stability, agreeable, intellect, punctuality, caution, orderly, self-discipline, rational processing, verbal intelligence, numerical intelligence, creative insight, creative achievement, divergent thinking, impulsivity, risk-taking. Thank you.
And all those traits are actually some of the things that we're learning. We're learning much more. We're able to give much more insight to individuals playing the games. Some games focus on other attributes. This game that you saw, Wasabi Waiter, is actually focused on emotional and social abilities, but other abilities as well. And what that enables people is to actually get insight and visibility, very rigorous, validated with very serious science working in the background while you play immersive, engaging game, and unlock and then showcase and broadcast their behavioral DNA, their talent or human potential proposition. Now, you might ask, why is that relevant? How is that going to help people in Detroit or people in India of any walks of life or any age group? And the implications and the ways that we are going to use that technology and empower people are in a number of ways. We see many applications, but to be concrete, first and foremost is in education. So figuring out what's the right education for you. Are you into engineering, or are you into life sciences or medicine or humanities, whatever it is? And this process, this discovery, this exploration, this insight-driven, data-driven exploration can start very early on, maybe even when you're in grade school. The other thing that we're going to use that for is for helping people discover professional opportunities. So if you think today about mainstream corporate America, using all sorts of proxies and tools to assess whether David is the right fit for a person at Google. And if David doesn't have the right GMAT or the right SAT, David is not going to stand a chance to get a position at any such company. I'm not speaking for Google. I don't know exactly how they recruit, but that is a problem. That's a problem both for individuals. That's a real problem for companies. This is an unsustainable approach to getting and finding great people. Now, another thing and a theme that was developed here today, skills are important, but skills are less important in the future of jobs and the future of work, because many companies, and we hear it repeatedly from companies around the world, are looking for raw potential. They're looking for people that they will be able to bring on board, develop them, nurture them, train them, and make them able to stick around at the company and be able to assume and develop and acquire new skills. So we're really looking for raw potential, for that human potential, not for the hard skills that were acquired as a result of some training program or education. This will enable people to do exactly that, to match themselves into the right organizations, the right roles, the right culture, and do the best with their potential.
I want to just explain a couple things because we're really trying to do this quickly. But one of the things they do, it's not entirely apparent. When they're measuring your play of that game, they're trying to measure every possible variable they can think of. When you hesitate, exactly how you respond when you make a mistake. And because of big data and the ability to record and analyze that, they can take extraordinarily detailed analysis of even 15 minutes of playing the game. But the thing that I don't think Guy has sufficiently explained is the way they're able to then make conclusions about your potentiality is by matching the data that they've extracted from your gameplay with data that they've acquired elsewhere from people whose achievements and capabilities are already known. So basically, it's based on pattern matching, right?
Right.
So that they can say, well, you could be a Google product developer because they've given this game to 20 Google product developers and they know what the average Google product developer does in this game. So if you're a kid in Rwanda playing the game, they can actually tell you, you could be a product developer. And the reason I wanted to have it on this stage is because I think for Detroit, there's some very interesting implications. Because here we have a city which, as we've discussed a couple times on this stage, has great things happening, but just like so much of America, there is a huge population that is essentially without hope, without the opportunity to see where the new opportunities are going to be for them. And there clearly are opportunities. It's about figuring out how to find those and how to convince the people that they're real. And this is just an emblematic technology. I don't even know if NAC is going to succeed, and frankly, I don't care. But I think that it...
Thank you.
But, for your sake, I do, because I
Right.
like you. But the fact is, once
Just kidding.
Guy explained this and showed it to me, I realized something like this will happen. And if things like this start to happen, the whole game is off. That's the point. I went to Amherst. That's a really cool thing. It opened all kinds of doors for me. But those kinds of pedigrees could actually begin to be very less significant in the future if, as I believe almost certain, this kind of technology begins to take off. So that's really what we were up here to try to describe.
And to amplify David's last point, we believe that the disruptive potential of behavioral computing, that is being able to access and get insight into the behavioral DNA, behavioral makeup of people, and use that to empower people in education, in forming connections, in placing themselves into schools, colleges, jobs, and promoting them, training them, etc. This is actually a very powerful thing that will minimize the importance of pedigree, of credentials. This is going to the ultimate meritocracy of a person. This is not about whether your father has graduated from that school or your mother was a lawyer and therefore you should go into law. This is about really what's your potential and how you do the best in your life to maximize and realize that potential. And we think this has disruptive implications for the jobs, for the workplace, but has also disruptive implications for education generally.
Guy,
That's why we're very excited about it.
Can you say any of the companies that are already using it?
So we're working with a number of global companies, working with Shell, the oil company, and what we're using our gains at Shell is to discover the predictive success signature for high innovators. Basically, we're running a pilot with several hundred people at Shell throughout the world where they play our games. We map their behavioral signature, the unique behavioral signature for every participant, and then we build a predictive model algorithmically from that data to predict what are the attributes that differentiate high innovators from everyone else. Once we have that signature, then we can cast a very broad net. We, i.e. Shell, can cast a very broad net around the globe and find all the innovators, whether at Shell internally, Shell has 100,000 employees in 190 countries, but find the kid in India that doesn't have GMAT, doesn't speak English. Games are language neutral, right? So Shell will be able, as a matter of philosophy, to bring in innovation from the outside and to find the gems, the people outside that have the capacity to come and innovate. They won't be able to do that without that tool, and that's why we're very excited about it.
And there's a bunch of other really big companies. Can you
Right.
just name a couple of them, or are they secret?
We're working with Bain, the management consulting company, about finding business talent, and we're several other companies that will be announced in the coming weeks.
Some of them are really big. I've heard some of them.
The most recent development from this week, which is actually interesting, we partnered with one of the largest medical centers in New York City, where we're running a pilot to discover the success signature, what makes a great physician, and being able to use that to select and train and develop physicians for the futures. So this is actually something very exciting to us, and the social implication of that is very, very clear.
And the finance and the supporters that this company has, a very impressive group, both in the business side and the scientific side. So I just, unfortunately, we don't have time to go into it in more detail, but I hope I've succeeded and we've succeeded in making you realize there are things, and this is just one thing, there's a lot of this stuff. And, you know, I think the people who sort of sit around twiddling their thumbs trying to figure out what American Competitive is going to do may not realize how quickly some of this stuff is going to change. That's the point. Anyway.
Thank you, David.
So thank you, Guy.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you very much. Please feel free to go to our website, sign up for the beta invitation so you can knock it too.
Okay, so we're going to have lunch now, sponsored by Ford, which is very cool. It's going to be served in the McGregor building next door. So you go out here and down the hallway.